Hey Raider Nation, we're here for another analysis of everything that happened in the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The final score was 28-13 for the Bucs, but what really marked the game were the injuries, especially that of Aiden O'Connell, and the impact this had on the Raiders' future. In addition, we'll talk about sincere McCormick's standout performance and our position in the draft. Let's dive into this analysis. Raider Nation, the most shocking news of the night was the injury to Aiden O'Connell, who left the field on a stretcher after a brutal hit in the third quarter. The quarterback suffered a late blow to his back, which resulted in a sprained knee when he fell. According to Raiders interim head coach Antonio Pierce, the situation doesn't look good, suggesting O'Connell may not return this season. This is bad news for anyone hoping to evaluate the young QB over the rest of the year. O'Connell, in his second year, has already faced a lot of instability, with multiple different coaches and offensive coordinators in such a short space of time. He needed more time on the field to prove his worth, but now it looks like that won't be possible. Additionally, the injury reignites the debate over QB protection. If this were a more popular quarterback, like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, it's likely that this hit would have resulted in a 15-yard penalty. What happened to O'Connell was not only a blow to the player, but also to the fan base's trust in inconsistent officiating. With Aiden O'Connell out of action, Desmond Ritter took over the Raiders' offense. And unfortunately, what we saw was more of the same: insecurity, conservative passing, and difficulty moving the ball. Ritter completed 12 of 18 passes for just 101 yards, and much of that number came on a last-ditch effort in the final minutes. Despite his athletic profile, Ritter rarely used his legs to escape pressure. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket, something that has been a pattern in the games he has played in this season. A lack of confidence in his arm and decision-making has left the offense stagnant for long stretches. Now, with O'Connell likely out, Ritter is expected to be the starter for the remainder of the season. This isn't encouraging news for fans who were hoping to see more development on offense. However, with the team already largely out of the playoff picture, perhaps the coaching staff will use the final games to thoroughly evaluate Ritter. If there was one thing that got Raider Nation excited, it was the performance of young running back Sincere McCormick. With 15 carries for 78 yards, he showed explosiveness, field vision, and excellent body control, especially in contact situations. Despite not scoring touchdowns, McCormick made the most of every opportunity to excel. With Josh Jacobs still an unknown quantity for 2024, given his contract and speculation about whether he will stay, McCormick could be an important piece for the Raiders' future. He's already starting to position himself as a reliable alternative in the backfield, showing that he can contribute both on the ground and as a potential pass catcher. Additionally, McCormick's presence brings a new energy to the offense, something that has been lacking in many games this season. His consistency and effort will be crucial for the final stretch of the championship, and even for the team's plans for next year. Hook. Despite the individual brilliance, the attack suffered from consistency issues. Let's understand the impact of this on the rest of the game. The Raiders' defense came out swinging, forcing 3 turnovers against the Buccaneers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. Those plays resulted in 10 points in the first half and kept the team competitive until the start of the fourth quarter. It was a great collective effort, led by the defensive line, which consistently pressured Baker Mayfield. However, the defense eventually succumbed to exhaustion. With the offense failing to sustain drives, the defensive unit stayed on the field too long. This opened up gaps for the Buccaneers' offense, led by Mayfield, to start exploiting gaps, especially in the final stretch of the game. Mayfield finished the game with 295 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of them in the fourth quarter. Still, there is reason for optimism. The ability to force turnovers was one of the highlights, showing that the defense has potential to grow under Antonio Pierce. However, for the defense to function consistently, the offense needs to do its part. As counterintuitive as it may seem, the loss to the Buccaneers may have been a positive in the long run. With the result, the Raiders move even closer to securing the first overall pick in the 2024 draft, surpassing teams like the Giants and Jaguars in the race. Currently, the Raiders' strength of schedule puts them ahead of the pack in the race for the number 1 pick. With one of the toughest schedules of the season, the team is in position to finish with the worst record in the NFL, which would be a major milestone in rebuilding the roster. Of course, rooting for losses is never easy, but for fans who see the bigger picture, this season is an opportunity to set the stage for the future. If that means sacrificing wins now to land a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, many are willing to pay the price. With the potential to hold the first overall pick in the 2024 draft, the Raiders will be faced with a decision that could shape the franchise for the next decade. Two names stand out as top options: Shedeur Sanders, the talented quarterback from Colorado, and Cam Ward, the dynamic playmaker from Washington State. Shedeur Sanders has a very attractive profile. Son of the legendary Deion Sanders, he combines leadership, precision, and the ability to excel in moments of pressure. His ability to connect long passes and his presence on the field would make him a natural choice for Las Vegas. In addition, his popularity and charisma could bring new commercial appeal to the franchise, something that is never ignored by NFL executives. Cam Ward, on the other hand, offers a more athletic and unpredictable style. He's known for his mobility and ability to create plays off script. In an offense that could benefit from a quarterback who's also a threat running the ball, Ward would be an intriguing fit. The question remains, do the Raiders need a traditional playmaker like Shedeur or an explosive playmaker like Ward? Although the Raiders are in a prime position to secure the first pick, the Raiders currently lead the race because of their strength of schedule. This means that even with the same number of losses as other teams, the level of difficulty of the opponents they have faced thus far puts the Raiders ahead. The Giants, for example, have faced an easier schedule, which puts them at a disadvantage in tiebreakers. Additionally, some unexpected wins from teams like the Jaguars help the Raiders maintain their lead. However, to guarantee first choice, the team will need to remain competitive, but without accumulating unnecessary victories. Does it seem contradictory? Maybe, but it's what Team Tank needs to do to ensure a bright future. Since taking over as interim head coach, Antonio Pierce has brought a new energy to the Raiders locker room. He is a leader who understands the spirit of Raider Nation and has proven himself capable of inspiring players. But is he the right choice to lead the team through a rebuilding campaign? Pierce inherited a team that was in disarray, with several flaws on both offense and defense. Despite this, he managed to improve the team's competitive spirit, especially on defense. The fact that he was an NFL player also helps, as he has the credibility that many younger coaches lack. However, the Raiders need to decide whether to stick with Pierce or look for a more experienced coach to lead the team. With a likely quarterback pick in the draft, it would be crucial to have someone who can develop talent at the position, something Pierce has yet to prove he can do. In addition to Aiden O'Connell's injury, the Raiders faced other physical issues during the game against the Buccaneers. Players like Divine Deablo and Nate Hobbs left the field at times, which worried fans and the coaching staff. These injuries highlight a larger problem: the lack of depth in the squad. With so many key players out or limited, the team is having to rely on less experienced reserves, which directly affects performance. It also raises questions about the fitness and performance of the team's strength and conditioning coaches. If the Raiders want to compete next year, it will be essential to add depth to their roster during the offseason. The team needs more players who can replace starters without a significant drop-off in performance. The final weeks of the season should be used to assess which reserves have the potential to remain on the roster in 2024. Despite the disappointing season, the Raiders' future could be very bright. The opportunity to secure the first overall pick in the draft means the team will have the chance to draft a talented quarterback to lead the franchise for years to come. Plus, with a new coaching staff and adjustments to both the defense and offense, the rebuild could be quicker than many imagine. The key to this transformation will be patience. Fans need to understand that change takes time, but with the right decisions in the draft and free agency, the Raiders could be back in the playoff race sooner than expected. The foundation for success is being laid now. Finally, the support of Raider Nation will be essential. As one of the most passionate fan groups in the NFL, it's time to continue believing in the future and supporting the team through thick and thin. Rebuilding may be difficult, but the results will be worth it. Raider Nation, the loss against the Buccaneers brought up many points for us to reflect on. Aiden O'Connell's injury, Desmond Ritter's performance, and most importantly, the implications for the 2024 draft. With the chance to draft an elite quarterback, we are at a turning point in the franchise's history. Now it's up to you. Who should be the future of the Raiders? Leave your opinion in the comments and stay with us for more amazing content about the team we love.